It could be currently be the MD of an organization that is still existing. It could be one that maybe you guys tried to do one or two things in the past, maybe the past 1 or 2 years to try to do something, but it didn't work out. You had to close down the organization, the company. It is possible to still use that as evidence. All you just have to show is, number one, your did you guys to roll out, what was the structure of the organization, being able to provide evidence that, okay, so going back to the question, sorry, I digress, going back to the question, you're the MD of an organization, all you have to do is just provide evidences for yourself that show what your contribution has been and what your organization has tried doing in the tech scene. And one thing that they also don't lose sight of is, when you get to the UK, what are you going to do? You have to talk about that. Your references also have to mention that in their letters as well. When you get to the UK, what are you going to do? What do you propose to do when you get here? So you need to have a game, you need to have a plan, and that plan will be alluded to in those letters that you're preparing. For an MD, it shouldn't be too difficult, because you're leading people, you're already in a leadership position, and you can talk about how you're currently leading people, and how when you get to the UK, you would also want to do that from the perspective of what you currently do. So I think it should even be easier for an MD.
To add to that, I would just say
currently a CEO.
Yeah, a CEO, an MD. I would just say go to technation.io. There are criteria there, and apply against those criteria. First of all, understand what they are asking for. The focus really, and it's more of product-led digital organization, or if you've worked in a product-led digital organization, so you have to ask yourself that question: am I the CEO, MD of a product-led digital organization? Are we building digital products? Have I been involved in building digital products? Those are specific questions or specific target audience that Technation has highlighted that they want to endorse. So please read the technation.io site, right? And also, I think there's someone in the audience that asks a web developer how easy. It is very easy, as long as you build and work around product-led, digital products, right? I should put it that way. Once you have experience in building any digital product or working in a team that built a digital product that is in the market, that is out of the market, that you've exited from, as long as you have the experience, and you can curate this experience and into answering the acceptance criteria, and you can get your endorsement. I just wanted to quickly answer those questions, and I'll allow Mr. Kayode answer the next question. Okay, all right. I think you can switch it on. I think you can switch it on now. Yeah, okay. All right, so going to the next question, Mr. Kayode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you arrived in the UK. Okay, fantastic. You arrived in the UK. How easy was it for you to transfer your Nigerian experience in terms of getting a job? Because we understand that the UK ecosystem sometimes are always looking out for people with UK work experience. We hear that. We don't know if it's a myth or if it's real. So, but for someone like you that have worked in both ecosystem, how easy was it for you to present how your Nigerian work experience and getting a job in the UK?
Well, I'd say yes, it is true that they often prefer UK working experience. But one thing I also discovered is that it depends on how you've presented yourself. Take for instance, when I put together my CV, I didn't have to make mention of the fact that I was coming from Nigeria. Yes, I have a BSc, I have a master's. I just put on my CV what I actually do. You know, so because you don't want a situation where you want the recruiter to, you don't whereby you really want to create bias for the recruiter. And then in most cases, as a developer, or as a developer or as a technical product manager, you don't really have to say, okay, this is the location of the place where I worked is in Nigeria. Not necessarily. You can't put it there, but if you don't want to, it's also fine. And why do I say so? Because sometimes when they don't know where you're coming from, they just assume that, well, he knows what we want him to do. We interview him. It's only on rare occasions they will ask, this experience, where has it been? If you want to, when you tell them, where experience has been, they, just assume that, well, it must have been, in somewhere that, with all that, with what that this person has said is done in this interview, he must have done it well at, wherever. So yes, they do emphasize that they do come across as wanting that UK experience, but all you need is just one breakthrough. So that's why I say you don't necessarily need to put the location, Nigeria, Lagos, not necessarily. You can, there's nothing wrong with that because it is your skills that matters most. But sometimes you might just decide that, let me even not, I don't have to disclose where I'm from. Because sometimes, for instance, any recruiter say my name, I just say, I have worked here, this is what I've done, everything is there. If I'm filling an online form, for instance, for maybe an organization, sometimes you see location of job, I leave it blank. I leave it to his discretion to think about. But in most cases, we won't even ask. I've had quite a number of interviews for different roles. Even I've started working, I'm trying to move up the ladder, also get roles in different, because at the end of the day, I'm thinking of becoming a technical product manager at a consulting firm where I become a partner and, I'll become a consultant, Under those circumstances, I have, quite, in order to move to different places and gather experience, I've had different interviews with different organizations. Only on one occasion has somebody asked me, where did I school? Nobody has asked me, where did you school? Or where did you, because on my CV, it is the BSc Economics, Masters in Business Administration, I specialize in strategic management. Nobody has asked me, I didn't put it there that way, because irrespective of where it is, it's a university. Nobody has asked me, where did you school? Okay, somebody has asked me once, and I sent him the website of my university so that I didn't have to talk much. We got to a level, but I don't know what happened. But at the same time, only on that occasion of all the numerous interviews I've done, I've even lost count. Nobody has asked me, where did you school? Or which class of degree did you come out with? So it all depends on, how it's presented. But now that I'm working, I have it fully on my CV. Yes, I've worked with, my experiences from Nigeria and all that. They see the amount of experience, it doesn't matter. So it depends on how you present it. Presentation is what matters.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for that. And that was, you did justice to that. And if you have questions, please put it in the chat. I will try and run through as many as possible. And also, if you are thinking of how do I present myself, how do I build my profile? We have communities within the group. If you click on the link within the chat, if you click on the link, you can join this community. And we have coaches who can help you put your CVs together, who can help you proofread your references, your endorsement letters, or your evidences. We don't write evidences for people. We don't write letters for people. We can help you proofread, because at the end of the day, it's your story, it's your journey you are curating, and you are the best person to write about your experiences. You're the best person to write about, what you'll be contributing to the UK economy in terms of personal letter, but we can help to proofread it to make sure they are well structured and they're well profiled, right? So thank you very much for keeping the questions coming in. In terms of family, we talked about, you mentioned Mr. Tango, I can see your hand. If you drop the question in the chat, I'll be able to get to it. You talked about family. I was going to ask how easy it is for you to migrate with your family, and how easy it is for your spouse to get a job. I know you mentioned it earlier, but wanted to just put a context to it. Yeah.
Very easy.
Go ahead.
Very easy.
Okay.
I moved with my family, and we all moved together at the same time. Mm-hmm. When we got here, we stayed with some friends, and within even though, well, it's not all, there are some challenges along the way. For instance, getting accommodation could be very challenging. I must say that, depending on where. I mean, far down south or very much up north, it could be easy, but when it comes to, in and around Greater London, accommodation is not always easy. Not because the accommodation is not there, but because they ask you, the agents don't know about, the agents don't really know about, global talent or tech talent. They don't really know about it. What they know is just, if you want to get an apartment, provide 3 months pay slips, provide your bank statement, your council tax from where you are currently staying, and you're explaining to them that, hey, I am just coming from Nigeria. I'm a tech talent, and fine, I don't have a job right now, but I mean, with my skills, I know I will get one, very soon. In most cases, the experience has been okay. Can you show evidence of the fact that you have at least 6 months rent? Some may tell you to pay it. Some will tell you, okay, you are here, fine, no problem. Since you're here legally, you can open an account. Please, can you show evidence of 6 months rent in that account? So what you do, pump money from your savings or wherever into that account that you've opened with any bank. Could be Revolut, could be Monzo, could be any high street bank. Just show them 6 months statement, 6 months, and they're able to see that yes, you have 6 months worth of rent with you. So that shouldn't be a problem. Remember that when you're coming when you're getting the global talent visa, nothing like proof of funds like Canada. Nothing like showing proof of funds like when you're coming as a student. You don't need to show proof of funds at all. I didn't show any proof of funds when I was getting my visa. After endorsement, gets the visa, 0 proof of funds. Nobody asked me for it.
Even in the home office, when you apply for visa in the home office, because people get that confused.
But when you get here, you need to also come. Home office, no, nobody, point of entry, nobody asks you for proof of funds at all. Because they know they need you. They know what you're coming to do. Mm-hmm. You're not coming as a student or what do you call it? Because I even heard that for students in some cases now, because they know that people borrow funds in order to show proof of funds before they get cash. Right now, at point of entry, they're asking to show either your mobile app or your bank statement printed a day or two previously to show your proof of funds is still in the account because of some situations that Nigerian students are running into. They're asking people at point of entry to show. But for global talent, that has never happened, and that doesn't occur. You are not required to show proof of funds at all. So, but you need to still be, at least, you need to have some savings so that when you want to get accommodation, you can show that, look, yes, I don't have a job, or yes, I am coming from Nigeria, I'm still keeping my Nigerian job. But guess what? I have a friend that showed, because we must be very, candid and straight and forthright with you here. I have a friend that, was working in Nigeria for an international organization. Interestingly, he wasn't even earning naira, he was earning dollars in Nigeria. Earning dollars in Nigeria. He brought those bank statements. They still said, no, we want to see the money in pounds.
Wow.
You know, so you need to also have some savings, you know, to show. So, I mean,
Okay. So
that's
talking about your spouse, how does it
yeah.
work? Does the
So
visa
talking about spouse,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So the visa
Does visa
covers your
covers for
spouse. Your
her?
spouse can also work. Yes, the visa covers for your spouse. Your spouse can work anywhere she wants to work, anywhere.
So
Okay, in
I think the other part of that question is
any field.
the other part of that question is, does she or he becomes get the UK PR or permanent residency at the same time you are getting it, or do they have to stay longer?
Well, they will have to stay longer.
Okay.
If you are a global talent, exceptional talent recipient, you get your permanent residence after 3 years. Your dependents will get theirs after 5 years. So when you get yours after 3 years, you'd have to apply for them for another extra 2 years. So
Okay.
all of you initially you get 3 years together. After the 3 years, you apply for your own indefinite leave to remain. You get your ILR, and then with that, you apply for them to get another 2 years as your dependents of the work permit. So they have, so by after 2 + 3 makes 5. So
Yeah.
after 5 years, they cannot apply for their permanent residence. But you
Oh,
get
okay.
yours after 3 years if you're exceptional talent. I mean, I don't know if they issue exceptional promise anymore. I heard everything has been harmonized.
Yeah, things have been harmonized, but we still have people that are getting exceptional promise. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
So
still have people that are getting.
That is about 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. So in a more relaxed form, you've been sharing a lot about your journey. In a more relaxed form, how do you unwind? How do you relax? What do you do? Technical product manager, you reading technical documentations. How do you relax?
Well, how do I unwind?
Yeah.
Well, in most cases, I find unwinding was a bit difficult initially until I discovered that there is a Nigerian shop not far from where I stay where they sell Nigerian star beer. Because the Heineken, the others, but that brand is a brand that I do. I mean, that's the only brand I take, even while I was back in Nigeria. So when I discovered that, I mean, I said, well, this is what I'm going to stick with. So, I mean, with that, and then sometimes I meet out with some friends, out in town. Good thing about London is that, or the UK is that anywhere you're going, there is you'd always get to wherever you're going, either by train or whatever, you'd always get to where you're going. So, sometimes you close from work, we've organized with friends after work, you have a chat, you gist, you talk, at the end of the day, it's sometimes 11 p.m., you go home, you don't have to fear that anything will happen to you on the way, because it's a safe and secure place. So those are the 2 ways that I unwind. Stay at home, take my star, watch TV or surf, and then, go out with friends after work. That's how I, often unwind.
Okay, thank you. I was going to ask, there are about 3 categories of people in the room, and you have spoken to them in your presentation, but I just wanted you to speak to them, more specifically now. So we have the CEOs in the room, as you must have noticed from the questions, who are looking at the technician route and are asking, is this for me? And we also have the guys in the room who are changing career, just newly getting into tech, and you can see them as newbies in tech, and they are wondering where do I start from? And we also have people that have been in tech for 3 to 5 years now. They are fixed in tech already, but they're in the Nigerian ecosystem, and they are wondering, how do I start, or where do I start from? Can you speak to those 3 categories of people in terms of, where to start from, as a CEO, then as a newbie who is just trying to, migrate into tech, and for someone who has been in tech for a while?
Okay, so I'll start from the newbie.
Yeah.
For the newbie, you have to be able to build yourself up you have to be able to go through the criteria and see where you're lacking and see where you can build yourself up. Take, for instance, under exceptional promise, one of the requirements is that you need to provide, a few examples of innovation in digital technology sector as either an employee working in a new digital field or concept, or maybe as a founder, maybe, and that could also cover an MD CEO of a product-led digital technology company. So you can apply both as an employee and as a founder. You might be, and as an MD CEO, you might be an employee, and at the same time, you might be a founder. But because I said I'll talk about the newbies. For the newbies, it's possible for them they have to look through the criteria and see what can I do to, augment my what I've done so far in the area of digital technology. Do I need to look for maybe opportunities to partner with other people outside my day-to-day job in order to see how we can create a new, technology idea or innovation in technology? That's an idea. Or can I move to another organization? Because sometimes moving to another organization in Nigeria might not be easy, but nothing stops you from spending that extra time to partner with people of like minds to say, guys, can people come up together to see how we can, identify a need in the economy? Okay, maybe there's a need for something in particular. You might say that, okay, let's see how we can come up with an app. There are guys in computer villages that can build an app in a matter of days, and let's see what we can do about that. Or one of the requirements is also proof of recognition for work outside the immediate occupation that has contributed to the advancement of the sector. So you might have just done something to support the advancement of technology in your sector. Is it possible you elaborate or highlight or detail what that thing has been that has made that has contributed to the advancement of to the advancement of the sector? Is it financial inclusion? Sorry, my examples are more finance. Finance, that has always been my where I've been. Is it financial inclusion? Is it in lending? Is it in cooperative or thrift? So you might have to look at what you can do in order to be able to get those evidences for yourself. That is for you as a newbie. For you who've been in tech 5 years or plus, after this session, please see how you can apply. I mean, that's that's the second bucket. After this session, you're in tech, you've been in tech. It's just about how all you need to just look at yourself as is how can you show that you've contributed to the advancement of technology in the sector where you are or in the sector where you belong to. That is what you need to do. For an MDCU, it's just about similar, which is look at your organization, look at what you are doing, look at how you've been able to lead the team to achieve so. But for those first two categories, those who have been in it for quite a while, say 5 years plus, or those who or someone that's been an MDCU, what they should look at is how can I elaborate how can I pitch what I've done in such a way that it is obvious that I am eligible for this visa. For the newbie, you might still have to, get some mentorship. I know the guys in Emigr8 can, help you out with that. See how you can, position yourself properly so that in another 12 to 18 months, you can be able to point to something that this is what you've done, this is how you've gone about it, and all that. It's just about, being able to show that you have, as an MDCU, entrepreneurial contributions to digital technology, or as somebody that's been in it for about 5 years, you have made significant technical or commercial contributions.
Okay. Clear? Yeah, that's clear. That's very clear, right? Someone is asking, please, for the aspect of submitting a high evidence of salary, in what currency would you advise it be done? Because I have mine in Naira. Should I convert to pounds by editing or reprint? So
Absolutely. You have to.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Absolutely. You show the Naira amount, and then you show the equivalent in pounds. And and I know the next question will be, so what exchange rate should I use? Just use official exchange rate. I mean, CBN has its own exchange rate. So use official exchange rate, CBN rate, convert and put it there. I mean, rates differ. Somebody can, the rates are not cast in stone. The rate I use, I'll use CBN rate because of what I want to achieve. Somebody else may use another rate, but just convert and put it there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, Mr. Kayode. You have been wonderful today. Sorry and apologies for the glitch earlier. We would start rounding up gradually, but just as about to round up, I saw a couple of questions just come in and see if we could quickly, if you can spare 10 more minutes, right, so that we can run through this question. Someone is saying, I'm from Ghana, can I apply? I'm a software engineer with 3 years. Of course, you can apply from any country. Yeah, it's open to all nations as long as you're a tech talent or you're in the tech field and you have experience, 3+ experience. Yeah, 3+ years experience, you can apply. Thank you for what you said. For the newbies, I'm a newbies in cloud DevOps. How would I narrow and build my portfolio so I can apply next year? So we cannot, so this session is just to let you know these are the possibilities, right? In terms of how to narrow it down, you may have to join the Emigr8 community and speak to a coach who can look at your specific condition, because what we're going to be sharing, I'll ask Mr. Kayode to speak to it, but what we're going to be sharing will be likely be general of how people in DevOps can apply. But as you may recognize, you might have a unique case, right? And your uniqueness is different from from the next person. So for example, you're in DevOps for 2 years or 3 years. There's somebody that might have been in DevOps for 8 years and have worked in digital-led product, and their experience are different. So yes, if you can join the Emigr8 community, we can take it further. But I will ask Mr. Kayode if he has any info to chip in on that, any advice to chip in for someone that's been in DevOps, a newbie in DevOps that wants to apply.
Newbies in DevOps that want to apply need to build a profile for themselves. One thing is that one thing they do look at is your LinkedIn profile. They would look at it. They would look at your LinkedIn profile. So you need to make your link. So you need to ensure that everything you've said in terms of the places where you've worked, the kind of things you've done, make sure that it syncs with your LinkedIn profile. They will check your LinkedIn profile. They may not call your references up. They may not send emails to your references. I mean, when I got my endorsement, I had to call all my, because the response came in just about 3 weeks. I had to call all of them that, sir, did they contact you? He said, well, nobody contacted me. But I knew because of the LinkedIn, because I subscribed for this LinkedIn, the higher version, I was able to see that somebody actually checked my profile on LinkedIn. So they would check. So, but as a DevOps person, or as a make sure that you've built your knowledge, you've built your experience, and you're able to put it down in words, talk about it freely, and make sure that it syncs with what you have on LinkedIn and with all what we've said earlier on. I guess we're good to go.
Yeah, so it's very important for you to profile yourself correctly and build your LinkedIn profile. It's part of you profiling yourself currently, because that's the gateway for people to meet and interact with you, right? So it's very important you have that. And I see some questions here in terms of how long do you have to be in the field before you apply. I've seen a question around 7 years, 3 years. What is important is for exceptional talent, Technician advised that you should have been in the in tech for 5 years and above for exceptional talent, for at least 5 years. While for exceptional promise, you should have been in tech for at least 3 years. But however, you can profile yourself correctly with the evidence you have to show that you have been in tech for that long a time, or that you have been in tech And these are the evidence to show that you have done exceptional things, or you have done things that have been recognized, or you have been awarded in that time. That is what is more important. It's less about the number of years you have been in tech and more of the impact, the product you have built and the impact you have had in that time. So please focus on that and profile yourself according to the impact and recognition and product that you have built. I have a question here from Mayowa. He says, under the optional category evidence, for example, if you have reference letter from an employer, can it stand as separate evidence, or it has to be counted as a supporting doc of one evidence? So Mr. Kayode had this experience. He got a reference from his employer. So I will allow him answer this question.
So thank you. I got because we need 3 reference letters. So what I said was my boss had to write one for me. Okay, so my boss wrote one for me. 2 other people that have dealt in the industry wrote the other 2 for me. But back to the question my wife was asking, if you have one from employer, that is not one of the 3. It is not one of the 3. You need to get 3 people who would write about you, what you've done, how you've contributed, how they think that you have to address each of the things, at each of the points, because in the guide, in the technician guide, there are points as to what the person referencing, there are guides to what you should touch on. Make sure, even if it's just one sentence you use to touch on it, because of the fact they're exhausting number of words you're supposed to put in the letter, make sure the person touches on it. Now, for that recognition letter from the employer, that can be one of the 10. That you can include it as one of the 10 documents that you'd have to provide, but it is not one of the 3 reference. You need to get 3 reference letters, 1, then your own personal statement should be 1. Then the others, can now follow. If you have 10 documents to provide, fine, but it's always good if you can, show as much relevant evidence as possible. When I did my application, we were applied just 5 documents. We were allowed just 5 documents. So it was difficult to choose which one should I include, which one should I not include, apart from the very important ones. But now that there's opportunity for 10, and during my time was 5 documents, each must not pass 2 pages. 5 documents, each must not pass 2 pages, but now you have up to 10 documents, and each of them can be as much as 3 pages. So you have a whole wealth of, things that you can provide in order to support your application.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kayode. We've kept you for an extended time. So thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Thank you for unpacking and giving clarity, right? So go on, you wanted to say something?
And can I add one more thing? See.
Yeah, please.
You see, my motivation for wanting to give, my time to, to this, so that, we can have this session is, earlier on, somebody asked that, why should I have just a few number of years of experience? Why should I apply? I would always tell you, please apply, because the number of not just Nigerians, Africans applying is so low compared to people applying from countries like India and even the United States. You won't believe it. Even people in the United States are applying for global talent. People in Canada are applying for the global talent visa. Indians, they've almost, they've scaled the chart. So, Africans, Nigerians, still very low. So by all means, it's an opportunity that is there. It is open. It's for us to, to grab it. So those are just my, final words.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. As you've heard it, the opportunities before you grab it, take action. The beauty of this information can only be seen when you start applying the knowledge you've learned today, the information you've received today. If you don't apply it, it'll just be another book in the shelf, right? But if you apply it, then you start seeing the benefit And I encourage everybody to take action. And how do you take action? First and foremost, take out time, go to technation.io, read about TechNation. That's the best place to start. Read about TechNation. Join the Emigr8 community, because sometimes it takes partnership where you can ask questions and you can leverage on consultants, the coaches in-house to put you through. Secondly, you can start also by joining things like Last by Bincom, where you are able to become part of a digital-led product team, and you can build a digital product. So for guys that are in DevOps, that are not working in product, in direct product, in digital product, that's an opportunity that you can, give your time to. 3 to 6 months, you have a digital product, and that you can put on your CV and say, oh, I have built this and I've taken this to the market, right? And you can also join the Bincom Global Tech Program, where you can learn any tech skill of your choice from beginner level to intermediate level and to expert level, right? The Bincom Global Tech Program, it's a 1 to 2 year tech program that take you through, different stages of development, different stages of development and growth. It gives you experience, gives you exposure, and help you to build a good tech profile. So take advantage of those. If you want to become part of that, join the Emigr8 community, signifying interest to say, oh, I'm a newbie. I want to explore Bincom Global Talent in any of the Emigr8 community, and we will link you to those sessions and those and those packages. So thank you, everyone. Apologies again for the glitch in the middle of the of this presentation, but Mr. Kayode has been very fantastic today. He has shared his journey, and his knowledge. So if you are still thinking you're not qualified, please think again. Look at the number of years you have done. Look at the number of things you've built. Look at the impact you've made. Look at the what do you have in your team, product team. What do you have in terms of experience within product? What do you have in terms of experience within development? And we can start curating those together, and you start seeing that, of course, you're qualified and you can apply for the global talent. And like Mr. Kayode said, we are behind in terms of countries and nations that are applying. We have more people applying from Asia. We have more people applying from North America. We want more people to apply from Africa, right? And if you want to join, if you want us to help you shape your CV, you want to shape your personal letters in terms of proofreading and helping you, giving you guide and step on how to build them, please join the Emigr8 community. If you need a coaching session, once you join the Emigr8 community, signify and say, I was part of the Open Day, Emigr8 Open Day for October 19th, 2022, and we would give you a free coaching session, a free 30 minutes coaching session to help you look at what you have and point in the right direction. Thank you, everyone, for spending your evening today. Thank you for the time. Thank you again, Mr. Kayode, and do have a good rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Yeah, thank you.